You're listening to The Sports Fix.
Portions of The Sports Fix brought to you by Harry Buffalo. Harry Buffalo, join the herd.
Sports Fix listeners, don't wait all day or all week to get in on the fun. The party doesn't stop when we go off the air all week long. The Sports Fix social media sites are your one-stop shop for all things Cleveland sports. Jump over to Facebook.com/TheSportsFix, Facebook.com/TheSportsFix, and become a fan today because we love fans and they create some of the best sports talk in town, Daddy. You'll enjoy talking to your fellow Cleveland sports fans on the Sports Fix fan page. And if Twitter's your thing, well, you know how we do it. Tweet with us at the SportsFix CLE. It's that simple.
Twitter.com/your
thing where you know how we do it. Tweet with us. Chat live with the crew during all your favorite Cleveland sports events, tickets and contests and trivia and so much more. Get with us today. The Sports Fix on social media. Facebook.com/TheSportsFix. Tweet with us at the SportsFix CLE. Join the Sports Fix on Facebook and Twitter today.
Hi, I'm Hector Marinero. You're listening to the Sports Fix.
Live in Ohio, it's time to get your fix. The Sports Fix.
There we go. You get caught up, getting warmed up for the show. People hitting me up on Facebook and Twitter, and I'm talking and getting rolling in the conversation. And then I'm like, hey, it's noon. Let's get rolling. Let's just share the conversations that we're having here with everybody. So now we're here. We're on the air. We're rolling. It's Wednesday. It's Hump Day, baby, here on the Sports Fix as we roll through the middle of the week. I've got a whole lot of things going on today. A little extra special giveaway today. I'm going to let you guys know now early. Share the word, guys. Let's get the audience today built up. Let's spend the day promoting. I haven't done this in a while. I don't ask you guys to go out there and do anything but hang out and do the Sports Fix thing. Today, let's drive up some listenership specifically by telling people to listen throughout the show. Tweet it, Facebook it, send it out across your social media. Take the actual link of what you're listening to today and send it out there and say, hey, come and join me listening to the Sports Fix. Not only are we going to have a hell of a Wednesday show here, but Vince McKee, my main man, the author, Vince the author, coming with us in hour number 2. We're going to talk to him about his latest book, of course, all summer, flying off the shelves, including at the Team Shop at Jacobs Field, his Jacobs Field History and Tradition book for the Indians. Now, his latest getting ready to hit the shelves just in time. Hey, we're a couple of weeks away from training camp starting up, and I'm holding it in my hand. I read it the first night I got it. An excellent book from the cover from the front to the back. I mean, everything about it. Tip top. The Cleveland Cavaliers, A History of the Wine and Gold. This thing is great. Not only did Vince write a great book, there's forewords in here by Austin Carr and Fred McLeod and Mary Schmidt Boyer and Craig Elo and Larry Nance, some of the greats that wore the Cavaliers uniform. And I'll tell you what, guys, not only is Vince going to join us to talk about it, but I am giving away, Vince and I have gotten together, and we're going to give away a copy to somebody listening to the show today. So make sure you listen. Make sure you tune in, because at the end of that interview, we are going to give away. We're talking beat the box office. Beat the bookstore, baby. We're going to get it to you before it even hits the shelves. Vince McKee, the author, joins us to talk about his book from History Press, The Cleveland Cavaliers, A History of the Wine and Gold. Not only that, Dan Wismar from the Cleveland Fan, he's normally with us in the 1 o'clock hour. He did the flippity-dippity with us here. He's going to be in the first hour, just about 25 minutes from now. Dan Wismar is going to join us. We got a preview on the Buckeyes and the Kent State Golden Flashes, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk a little Browns and Indians with him. Speaking of Browns, we'll get into it a little bit now, a little bit later. Already, Jonathan Knight and I, maybe we put the Maloik on him, talking about coming into the first game relatively healthy. Very quickly, that situation changes as now Ben Tate out at least 2, possibly up to 4 weeks here. Also, Jordan Cameron, a lot going on with him, that shoulder separation. Browns bringing in tight ends. We talked about that yesterday. They signed one. Doesn't bode well for perhaps the short-term health future of Jordan Cameron as well. We'll talk about all of that. The latest around the NFL. Told you guys, about the vote. We'll get into that, this drug vote thing. Don't sit around holding your breath for this to happen. We'll talk about that. Roger Goodell, he doesn't think he should lose his job, by the way, because of the Ray Rice thing. Just letting you know, we checked in with Roger Goodell, and that's his opinion. We'll talk about all of that. The Tribe, tough one last night. You know, a little bit upset. I would be more upset if I didn't know what Destiny had in store, but even then, man, makes a night like last night tough. So we're talking about all of that, guys. Rolling it, doing it. Let's kick it off right here. Nice, shiny package. Welcome in to the Sports Fix, guys. J-Rock, Jerry Myers with you, as we are each and every weekday, live at noon here across the Sports Fix radio network, live on TuneIn and its radio app worldwide, on Spreaker and Mixler and their digital applications, on the sportsfix.net, the home base right there. That's right, Bruce. Four batters undid the whole thing. The sportsfix.net, the one-stop shop for all things Cleveland sports. It's got your live broadcast. Welcome in, you guys, across all the live platforms as well. Each and every one of you, thousands around the world that listen 24/7 on digital delay. Welcome in everybody listening on iHeartRadio, the world's largest internet radio provider. Those of you that listen on SoundCloud and Stitcher and CarPlay and all the different places, iTunes perhaps, where you may subscribe or download the show. However you get it delivered to you, thank you guys so much for making the Sports Fix a part of your day, however, wherever, and it's all over. People listen in the house, in the office, in the car, in the studio, on the phone. I mean, I'm telling you, every way that you can do it. We'll talk about it, guys, as we roll on with the Sports Fix, and we want to talk to you. Limited opportunity here. Early on, we're going to open up the phones, and then we get rolling, get into the heart of the show. Going to be much harder to get in on the phone. So if you've got something to say and you want to hear it, let us hear it. 216-539-7535 is the number to call. 216-539-7535. You can hit us up on Facebook and Twitter and email. Facebook.com/thesportsfix. Tweet with us at the Sports Fix CLE. Email us, thesportsfix@AOL.com. And as I reminded you earlier, if you need anything, if you forgot anything, if you don't remember any of that, it's simple. Go to thesportsfix.net, bookmark that bad boy. It's got everything that you need right there to interact with the show one way or the other, guys. And as we roll on, I'll start with, I talked a bit there in the open. Josh Gordon, I said, don't hold your breath. I mentioned this yesterday. That was one of the conversations that I was having before we went on the air. My buddy Bruce, listening to the show, he hit me up before and he said, hey, Ed Werder's on ESPN right now reporting that it's a done deal. This vote's going to happen, and then it's just got to be signed, and then Josh Gordon will be back within a week. And listen, slow the roll, fellas. Like John McMullen and I were talking about the other day. Do you know how many times they've gotten this thing to the point that it's at now, and it never got any further? They didn't even have the belief that it was worth putting this up for a vote last night, because that was still that likely that it wasn't going to get approved by 60% of the players when the players look at this, because that's the part of this that people are not getting when they look at the changes here on the drug suspension program, which, yes, they are talking about it. They've been talking about this. They've been negotiating this off and on for a couple of years here now. And yes, they do want to make changes, and I do believe this will get done, but I mean, you got to realize that you've got 32 people sitting down, or if there's two for each team, 64, whatever. You've got a group of player reps sitting around making the bulk of this thing. They're crafting an agreement, but then they have to give it to the however many, I don't know the number of players in the Players Association, but however many that is, they have to all vote on it. And that is, first off, that's unpredictable which way a large group's going to go. But I keep reminding you guys, the key thing that they're voting for, it's the leverage that the NFL is holding. The NFL is saying, hey, we know that there's guys that, for whether you want to say medicinal, whether you want to say for relaxation, whatever, we know there's guys that use marijuana. We know there's guys that have been caught in some situations that, you know, we probably should have had different standards for. We know there's been different arguments about, well, if I'm taking this in the off season and taking that and this medication, okay, we're willing to fix these things. We're willing to lower the thresholds for marijuana. We're willing to give you guys these things that you say you want and that you think you should have. In exchange, we want you to give in finally on the HGH testing. I don't think the NFL even knows how effective the testing is going to be, but as a pure public relations measure, they've reached the point where they want it. They want to have it to show the public, hey, we're testing our players for every type of performance-enhancing drug. That's what they want. And they're using that leverage. We brought this up months ago as a potential negotiation between the NFL and the Players Association, that they could use that and wield it as leverage and say, hey, we're willing to give you all these things that you want, and we're willing to say, hey, we need to get with the times, we need to lower this, and we need to change this, but here's what we want. And if you guys want this bad enough, then you've got to get your players to agree to this game day, or maybe it's day before, day after, depends on which way you read the policy. But basically, game day HGH testing, you have to get your guys to give in on this. And the point that I keep making, I talked to you guys about this week, is my gut, and this is no scientific fact, but I think if you talk to a lot of people, they may say that my estimate is low. But I'm going to say I believe at least 50% of this league is using some type of performance-enhancing drug, whether you want to say HGH or a variant or a different similar thing. Regardless, I do believe that there's a lot of undetectable use in all sports across the spectrum, because as long as you've got guys that will... Think about this. Anabolic steroids are incredibly easy to detect. These baseball players, thousands of them over the years, used some of the easiest to detect stuff. Like, they weren't even sophisticated about it. And then once the drug testing started, then they got more sophisticated. Barry Bonds, you hear about Balco and guys doing all of that. But initially, it was so unsophisticated. Now, if that many people are willing to not even be intelligent in their performance-enhancing use, now that there's a whole new sophistication level and these undetectable things, you would be foolish to believe that nobody's taking advantage of that. You guys, listen, man, I'm telling you, I love the NFL football. You guys know I'm a big fan of the sport, but don't allow yourself to be blinded to this thing. And that's why I'm not sure that this is even going to pass. I don't know that the players are even going to agree with this, because if I'm right, okay, let's just say my estimate's high. Even if it's 30 or 40%, I know it's no lower than that. But even if it's that number of players that obviously don't want to be tested for HGH because they're taking it. If you've got that percentage, let's say it's 40%. I'll even cut mine down 10%. Let's say it's 40%. Then you still got a significant percentage of people who just don't believe that intrusive blood testing and different things like that. There's just people that have principles in anything. There's people I know that have nothing to do with pot, have never even sniffed the thing in their life, but they don't agree with the certain standards because they separate their personal beliefs from the outside. So point being is, you're going to have a group of players who just on principle say, we don't want blood testing, we don't want game day testing, we don't want this, we don't want that. Then you've got the big percentage of guys who know that they may get caught doing the things that they're doing right now. Basically, that's like if you're a guy who every day you're a football player, you're on the road, you cheat on your woman, you keep everything on your cell phone, you never let her see your phone. That's like deciding, if you vote yes on this, that's like walking home tomorrow and going, here, honey, here's my cell phone. Take a look at the stuff I've been doing that you don't know about. It sounds funny. You're probably like, haha, but that's exactly what you're doing. You're opening up your personal cell phone of your personal life to everybody and saying, hey, catch me doing things that you did. Tells me there's not a whole lot of people quick to do that. As much as the guy next door might be going, hey, look, man, we like to go after the game. We like to smoke one. We like to relax a little bit. Hey, if we vote yes on this thing, we can get that. It would be okay for us to do a little bit of this and a little the whole season. But meanwhile, your boy might be saying, yeah, I agree with you. And inside he's going, damn, if I say yes, they're going to be able to test me and they're going to find out that I'm taking this or I was using that or I'm doing this. So you tell me how they're going to get a majority. See how it's possible. I don't see how it's possible unless, why would they do that? That's the whole point of this, is if you guys want this, we want this. And if I was the NFL, I wouldn't give in on that, because if you give in on that, you're waving a big flag to the public that says our players are on steroids and we refuse to test them for it. And that matches right along with the look of Roger Goodell and this whole